The Big Ten tournament is upon us, and it is Michigan State's to lose. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head on over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your expert. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below your launch shot to win this Big Ten tournament, because we're going to talk about that with our near dear personal friend Kent of Casual Big Ten. But first, we're obviously going to talk about the Spartans because, Kent, as we go forward into this Big Ten tournament, it's still going to be a few more days before I see my Spartans. They did get the double bye, as with three other teams. But unlike the other three teams here, Michigan State sits on top of the odds board at FanDuel at plus 260 odds to win this Big Ten tournament. That's another way of saying that they're roughly 27% odds to win this one. That's the highest amongst everyone else in the Big Ten. Should go without saying. Not much of a mystery. They just won this conference in the regular season by 3 games. It's not a hot take at all. But Michigan State is in the driver's seat to win this Big Ten tournament. Is that the coldest take you've heard, Kent? Or can you go colder than that? I wish I could come with some spice and say, ooh, they're going to get upset in the first round, but I don't think so.
I think that's the coldest take you could come up with, I think. I don't think I can come up with a better one.
Isn't this great podcasting? Yeah, this is good. This looks people. Good.
Yeah. But also, thanks for having me, man, because this is the only place I would want to be this week.
Let's go.
With the first place team, the double bye, number 1 seed. I'm with the face of the Spartans right now, Matt Sheehan. There's no other place I'd rather be on planet Earth right now, dude. I cannot wait for this tournament. Mm-hmm. I will be there live and in person. Come say hi if you guys come. Check it out. I'm coming with 2 Spartan fans. They're going to be cheering Go Green, Go White a lot. So I can't wait, man. It's going to be a fun week. Awesome setup for the tournament. And I've never been to a game in Indy, so I'm also excited about that.
Best event town of all time, going away. I'm not going to say that, I've been to every single big event town there is in this country, but I've been to Indy for a few, and they do a fantastic job. So I know it's going to be taken away one day. It'll go to Vegas, and then a few years after that, it'll probably go to Jakarta, Indonesia, and then it'll be on Mars one day. But for the meantime, it's nice to have it at home in a solid city like Indy is. Ken, I've asked some variation of this question to pretty much every guest we've had on the last few weeks here, but it's kind of like, the pretty girl at the lunch table. Please just keep talking about how good I look. I can never get tired of this, but what is your favorite part about this Michigan State team? Why can they make a run here and win 3 games to win another banner this year? There's no shortage of options.
Yeah.
You got the defense, you got rebounding, great players, amazing culture, but please just keep on shining us up, Ken. What above everything else gives you a glimmer in your eye when you look at Michigan State basketball?
I'm going to go one deeper than that. I'm going to get deep on you.
Let's go.
The way that the Michigan State Spartans finish games.
Oh, I love this.
Is my favorite thing about this team. If you are in a tight game or even losing down the stretch, 7 minutes to go is when literally this whole team just focuses in. They lock in. Izzo just has these guys ready to play the last quarter of each game, the last 5 minutes of each game, whatever you want to call it, the last 10 minutes. They are ready to go. Every close game that they've had down the stretch, these last 7 games that they've won, has been all Michigan State in the last 5 minutes. And that's the part that I like. That's what you want to see, going into March, if it's your team. You want a team that's going to finish strong, that's not going to get rattled by anything at the end of games. And that is the part that gives me a lot of confidence going into not only the Big Ten tournament, but also wherever they land in the NCAA tournament.
Now, I need to out myself here because I feel like, I'm part of the reason that this has been a problem, but not enough, I think, credit has been given to this team for not just winning the Big Ten, not just outright, but doing it by 3 whole games. This was another Big Ten year where it was just a dogfight night in and night out. No one gets a free break, especially when you play on the road, no matter how bad your opponent is. But Michigan State handled their business on the road outside of the state of California for the most part, right? I mean, they were able to crawl to the finish line with the fewest scabs, even though they faced an incredibly tough slate with all these top 20 teams. When did you start to kind of realize that, okay, Michigan State isn't just going to win this Big Ten, but they're going to do it by like a 3-game stretch? Is that something that didn't even dawn on you till the last weekend of the season? Or
Yeah.
did you start to piece it together with like a week and a half, 2 weeks to go?
No, I thought that they had a really good chance to win the conference like in January. Like even
Yeah,
when
sure.
they had the softer schedule, I was one of the few, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your show, but I was one of the few that says, I think that this team is actually good, and they just haven't had an opportunity to play tougher teams yet. And when they get that chance, we're going to see how good they actually are. Now, do I think they were going to go win by 3 games? Absolutely not. I
Right.
didn't think they were going to run away with it at the end. So, yeah, not until like last week, I don't think, is when I started thinking, okay, like it's for sure over now, even if, Michigan can keep winning and it comes down to that at the end of the year, that one game. I knew that game in Breslin was going to be all Sparty. So, like, I was pretty confident they were going to win it, but I didn't think that you guys would win it by 3 games. That was crazy.
So is it safe to say that you're picking Michigan State to win this Big Ten tournament, or is there another team that's really catching your eye right now?
If I had to put money on it, yeah, I would
Okay.
100% be betting Michigan State. They have obviously the easiest path. They earned it.
Sure.
They're the 1 seed. I will say they will have a tough matchup in their first game, I think. And it's because I think it's going to be Oregon, honestly.
Okay.
And I think Oregon's been playing. They're the only other team that has a win streak like Michigan State right now. They won their last 7 as well.
Yeah.
Not as impressive because of the teams that they played, but they did go win one at Wisconsin in that 7-game stretch. So if it is Oregon, I think that's a really tough first game. But after that, I don't think that if all things were equal and both teams played their best game, I don't think there's another team in the conference that can beat them. The problem is you don't always get that, though. Like there's going to be an off night where you're not hitting double-digit 3-pointers and you're making some mistakes on defense or you're getting beat down low. So, if I had to put money on it, it'd be Michigan State. But there's also a lot of other really good teams that if they get hot and they have the right night, could absolutely beat you guys for sure. But, yeah, money's going on Michigan State.
Now, we're going to talk about those other teams here in a hot second because you are actually co-producer of the show. You came with a great idea. You said that we should each come in and pick one team that starts their tournament on Wednesday, another that starts their tournament on Thursday, and then one on Friday and give reasons, why they could win the whole thing. But before getting into that, and of course more mailbag questions about Michigan State later on in the show, I got to ask you about like this bracket format right now, because obviously 3 teams are left watching this one from home. This is the first time that they're doing it with the 15-team bracket. And if you finish in the bottom 3, well, again, you're watching this from the sidelines here, and that's Penn State, Washington, and Nebraska. Obviously, fans of those teams don't like it. Coaches have been pretty outspoken about it, that they don't like this format of leaving teams at home. I, for one, like it. I don't mean to sound all like arrogant and like, oh, just because life is all good over here means that it should be horrible for everyone else. Like, no, you had 20 chances to make things right. I get that you, want to get into a tournament, have a dream in March, but like you're not going far enough in this bracket to make the big dance anyway. That's just reality.
Yeah.
Am I just poo-pooing this too much, or are you kind of aligned here? Do you like that they actually relegated 3 teams out of this tournament throughout the season?
If you asked me that question in November, I would have been like with the other side. I would have said, I hate that not every team's getting in. And selfishly is because I knew I was going to the Big Ten tournament, and I always like to see every team play at least once throughout the year. So that's an opportunity to do that if everyone's there. So I didn't like it at the beginning. As the season like wore on, and I was like, oh, wait, these guys are going to be fighting for spots like all the way through up until the end of the year. And we had that yesterday with Iowa and Nebraska. So yeah, if you're like a team like Nebraska, you're upset right now. You think everybody should be in. You also should probably beat Iowa at home.
I would do that.
On senior day.
Right.
Like,
that seems like a good idea.
Yeah, I said the exact same thing last night on Twitter. I said, there's some people that want everybody in. My advice to you would be to go win some games. Like I said the exact same thing. You had 20 chances. Like you want to get in, you had your opportunity. You just didn't win enough games. Sorry. And quite frankly, now that there's 18 teams and I am going, I don't really want to see Washington play on Wednesday night. I'm sorry.
I'm all good. I'm all set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I think I got the concept of what they're going to be on TV. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've had my fill of Washington. Just seen them once against Michigan State. All right. I get the point. Good luck next year, Danny Sprinkle. I hope things work out for you in the future, but that's That's enough of you on my television. So,
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Appreciate the effort, though, or whatever that was you gave the last 20 games. Great use of NIL over there in Seattle. Anyway, this isn't a rag on Washington episode. I'm sorry about that little tangent there. But ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So stop managing your money and start building wealth, guys. Now, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and now I budget smarter and save more. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can just use Monarch to check all your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Also, guys, Factor Foods, keeping you full throughout this March tournament season. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor makes eating well with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. Like, I just tried their protein plus meals, and they were packed with flavor and kept me full throughout the day. The convenience is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off and use LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's LockedOnCollege50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Let's break this down because You know what? I love the idea. All right, we're going to start with, one of the 6 teams that start their tournament on Wednesday. And actually, guys, you could be listening to this episode after these games wrap up very well. The first game, Northwestern Minnesota, then Iowa, Ohio State, and then USC, Rutgers. Ken, been telling myself, do not talk yourself into this team doing anything. Okay? But what is the month of March for? Yeah. It is for talking yourself into magic, storylines, and for the Minnesota Gophers at plus 25,000 on FanDuel. Why not? I love the upperclassmen that they got. Of course, it starts with Dawson Garcia. I love the guard defense that they have there. Ben Johnson is a great coach. Do I actually think they will win this whole damn thing? No, I don't. But if you're asking me to pick one of those teams, I think health is on their side as much as it is with any of the other teams I just listed. I like the experience that they have, and I like their head coach. We're dreaming with the fine folks in Minneapolis right now. Are you sticking with my Gophers, who could very well be eliminated from this tournament by the time people listen to this portion, depending on how late they tune into this episode?
For sure.
Or is there another team?
Especially because that's the first game. So, there's a high chance.
Oh, very high. Incredibly high. I cannot wait.
Some people might be driving to the second game and listening to this right now they just lost.
Yeah, they've been out of the tournament for 4 hours. What is this bozo talking about? But we are recording a little bit before this tournament.
No, I do like that pick, though. I like Minnesota a lot. I think Ben Johnson got a horrible rap this year. They're talking about letting him go, and I don't understand why. It's not his fault at all.
No.
But also, I'm a huge Parker Fox supporter. I know a lot of people in the Michigan State fan base do not like him. So probably not the best platform for me to be announcing that. But I like Parker. Parker's been really nice to me. So I'm cheering for Parker. I'm going to give you just a quick different one, though, only because I like the players on this team. And I'm not saying they're going to win the whole thing, but I think that they have a chance to win at least one game and surprise people. Mm-hmm. And horrible time to say this because they've been playing bad lately, but I really like USC. Really like them. Wesley
As a State fan, I can't argue that. We took our medicine against them. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, not because they beat you guys either, but I love Wesley Yates. AG is must-watch television. I'm not a big fan of Eric Musselman, especially his post-game. The last couple games, he's been kind of blaming his fan base, I feel like, for some of the losses, which I would argue maybe play better again. When the fans
could help.
Show up. But the players on the team, though, I actually like them. And they're fun to watch, so I'm hoping that they can at least pick up one win. It's going to be a tough game against Rutgers, though. Tough game.
That's the thing too. Like it is, yeah. There's no one that I love to like, just leap out of this first round automatically. I think all three games are going to be very good to start the Wednesday for the Big Ten tournament. I'm just still staring at this bracket for the second round here, and like that's why I had the long pause, because I still haven't made up my mind of who I'm going to pick amongst Indiana, Oregon, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Purdue. I'm staring at the bottom of this bracket, and while I have been like a card-carrying Illini hater this whole season, our fan base has lost a lot of love for each other, and I apologize for that. I do like actually, and I hate to admit this, like I do think there is something to like they do have a tremendously high ceiling. Like when things are going well for them, they are a very talented team. However, I think I'm going to go with Purdue here to be my day two team because, well, they have arguably the best point guard in this whole tournament. They have arguably the best big man. They have a solid supporting cast. They have a really good head coach, and not to be a number one player hater, but they get the winner of USC Rutgers. And then if they win that game, they get Michigan the very next game. And then, well, sure, the semifinals will get tough, but I'm going to go with the Boilermakers because of experience, the skill, the cast they have, the pass there. Boiler up, I guess. I don't know. That felt unnatural. But
I don't think you have to say that.
yeah, I'm gonna add that part out. That's okay. We'll act like that didn't happen. But I guess that's who I'm gonna pick. Purdue. Are you sticking with the bottom side of the bracket between Illinois and Purdue? Or okay,
I'm going with you. I'm going right with that. Like, I'll take USC for the first day, but then I think they lose to Purdue, and I think everything you just said is correct. I like Illinois a lot. Like when they're playing, and they're hot right now, and I think when they're playing good, they're great. But they have Maryland in the next round if they win their first game, because they could have an off night and lose their first game too. So I'll take Purdue. I think they'll have an easier game on what would that be, Thursday night, and then they get Michigan on Friday. So they're right. They're going to be right in that mix, I think, to win at least two games. So yeah, I'm going with Purdue as well for the day two teams.
And I know, like, Purdue, it's so weird to see Purdue, like, also not have a double bye. Like, I thought they've had it in control pretty much the whole season. Obviously, things kind of got rocky there at the end, but it's a weird thing where like I feel like I can't hold a lot of these losses against them. Like that loss on the road at Michigan, that was an odd ending. They lost at Michigan State. They lost at Illinois. Like a lot of tough road losses. I'm not going to hang that too high over their head.
They did lose to Penn State, though.
I was going to not even bring that up. I have an agenda to build. I got to talk myself into this working out here. So, but Penn State's a nasty dog, man. They also popped Wisconsin. That's a grimy Nittany Lion team that will not be here.
Yeah, but I think that's the right pick. I mean, the safe pick would be Illinois just because of how well they're playing. I'll say like the third pick is the team that I brought up at the beginning too, is I still really like Oregon. I just don't like that they have to play you guys in their second game. I think that right now they're playing really good defense. Nate Biddle is one of my favorite players to watch. Like he's a dog on defense, and I really want to see him go up against you guys because he's so talented, but I think you guys will be too much for Oregon in that next round, so I can't confidently pick them. I'll go with Purdue as well, yeah.
I also love Nate Biddle. Solidarity with Nate Biddle. Just two guys that had bad hairlines starting in college. I mean, I had mine starting in high school, really. So, like, I've been used to this. I've been used to all the jabs and everything. But, like, just seeing him getting just harassed by all the student sections because of his bald spot, like, Nate, stand strong. You got this. You are better than them. Come on, man. Let's go. Hair doesn't define everything around these parts. Let's jump to Friday. Of course, Michigan State is in this group of double-bye teams. They also got UCLA, Maryland, and Michigan. I know we've both just said that Michigan State is probably going to be our pick to win this thing, but who is second place, I guess, if you just want to take it there? Who would be your silver medalist amongst the Friday teams?
It's got to be Maryland, and I hate it because I feel like I've been on the bandwagon for a couple weeks now, and now it's getting full. There's a lot of people jumping on right now this last week, and honestly, even the game against you guys, I was really impressed with how they played. They just couldn't. Same thing I just said. They couldn't finish those last 5 minutes. Like Michigan State was just too strong, and obviously the shot at the end was amazing, and your video after that was even more amazing.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Maryland is really good though. Like they obviously have the two bigs down low, like Julian Reese. I think, and I said this the other day on Twitter, I got some heat for it, but I think he's one of the most improved players in the conference this year. And then obviously the freshman Derek Queen. They just have so much going on down low, but their guards are also really big. They're aggressive. They can guard, they can handle, they can shoot, everything. Like everything about this team is great except for their depth. They just don't have anything coming off the bench. Like Jordan Geronimo's not giving them anything.
Yeah.
Deshaun Harris-Smith has not been what they expected him to be. Like, he was supposed to be a starter. So I really like this Maryland team. And like I said, I like what they did against you guys, especially defensively. So I think that they're a good pick for someone other than Michigan State. If I'm going to pick a Friday team, they're my second favorite, I would say.
Like, not to just, just completely pat each other on the back constantly the last 5-10 minutes, but like, that's kind of who I have to go with as well. Like UCLA, obviously, a fine team, really good defensive principles, obviously under Mick Cronin. But I like Cronin. Maryland more. Yeah, he's a very fine coach. Of course he is. But Maryland's just more offensively talented, I think, than UCLA is. And Michigan, I like not to be a complete hater, but we've all seen the same team, right? Like, I don't got to put on this facade of, they've had a good season. No, they have. And then the calendar to March, something has gone. What do you have to say for the Wolverines? Explain yourself. Explain yourself, Ken.
I can't really explain it. Everything that they've been doing wrong all year, they never fixed it. Like Dusty was talking about it in his post game. What was it? When did they play? Yesterday? It was yesterday, right? Or
whatever it was. I've lost track now.
He was saying, like, we need to fix the turnovers, and if we're not going to fix the turnovers, we have to shoot better. Fix the turnovers. That's all you have to do. Like, it's insane to me that they're averaging, I didn't even look it up, I'm going to guess 15 turnovers a game. Like, that's crazy.
Feels like it. It feels like it. Yeah.
And they're not going to fix it. At this point, they've had enough time to figure it out at practice and implement it into the games. It's not happening. It's not going to happen this week. It's not going to happen before the NCAA tournament. So he's absolutely right about one thing. They have to shoot the lights out if they're going to beat anybody, because they will turn it over that many times and give people free possessions, free points. So I can't explain it. I guess if you're a hopeful Michigan fan, you just have to do what I just said. You have to shoot it really well from three, which they have not been doing the last 2 weeks. And just hope that the other team has an off night, I guess.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. What was that procedure that Kobe Bryant got done? Like, he went to Germany and got his blood spun and it gave him more energy or something like that. That's what they need Danny Wolf to do here in the next few days, because, like, hey, outstanding player that is also looking completely drained at the end of this season for having to be Superman here. So they need a lot of things going their way. But let me ask you this, not to make this Locked On Wolverines here, but this is obviously, a pretty broad Big Ten podcast episode that we're doing right now. Like, I think I've been... The last few episodes haven't reflected this. Don't get it twisted. Before all this kerfuffle happened on Sunday, I think I've been pretty complimentary of Dusty May and the job that he's done at Michigan. He's turned the program around, going from, 8 wins to however many they have this season. Okay, like, I've said that he's done a good job there. But also with what you're saying, and also with what we've seen in the same breath, it is the same mistakes happening over and over and over again. I'm not talking 3-point shooting. You obviously just, can't coach a kid to, hey, make your shots, son. Like, duh. Yeah. But the turnovers have just been constant and just in a silly way very early in the game, too, as we all saw on Sunday. They're just getting out-efforted. How about that for a word? You like that? On the boards, too, which you can't chalk it all to coaching, but it certainly reflects the effort given, I think. So now I'm caught in the middle here. Like, has he done a good job this year? Is it a good season at Michigan? Like, you be the jury here, because I can't. Everyone knows I'm a Michigan hater, and anything I say is not going to be taken seriously. So I'm going to put the ball in your court, Kent. Here we go. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, man. I would say that he's done a good job. I mean, if you're the last place team in the Big Ten and you're getting punked by, I think it was Penn State last year on Wednesday night in the Big Ten tournament.
That was tough.
And just embarrassing. That's really bad for Michigan. They can't have stuff like that happen. And if you take away everything that you've actually seen basketball wise the last few weeks from them, they're the 3 seed. They got a double bye.
Yeah.
They won a ton of games this year. What else do you want as a Michigan fan other than to go from last place, add 4 more teams, and then now you're in 3rd place? Like, that's pretty good. That's an overall good season, a good turnaround. But yeah, the basketball stuff though, you brought up a great point. Like, it is coaching when they're getting off 20 offensive rebounds a game. Like, I don't know how many you guys had last night. I didn't look at the box score.
I think it's 15, I want to say.
Okay. Illinois had 21, I think, in the game before that.
My God.
So that can't happen.
No.
But again, you're giving the other teams multiple possessions, and then you're losing games by 15. That's what's going to happen. You're going to turn it over 15 times, give up 15 rebounds or offensive rebounds to the other team. That's 30 extra possessions. That's insane. You can't do that. And that is coaching.
Like that.
So unfortunately, they do have to get better in that aspect. But overall, like, definitely a great turnaround from them.
I think that's fair. You know what? Yeah, I'll agree. I'm sorry if this is going to upset Michigan State fans. I think overall still a good coaching year, but like the meter is definitely more in the middle than it was 2.5 weeks ago, per se. But still, obviously marked progression for the Michigan Wolverines there. I just don't really think that. I don't know. What are their odds right now? They are 11-1 to win this. I don't think that's a real smart bet. If you want to go ahead and do it, guys, hedge your happiness like I do sometimes. Like, hey, if you got to watch a team you hate win it all, I'm no stranger to that theory of betting, but I don't even think I'm going to do it this time around. I just tough end of the season for Michigan.
You'd have to, like I said, you'd have to have them get super hot, which they can. I mean, maybe they catch fire in that building and like it's a good backdrop for. I don't know what you can expect, but they'd have to be hot. They'd have to be hot for 3 games in a row for you to win some money on that.
So is it safe to say that your final is Michigan State, Maryland? Is that your prediction for the final? Or are you going to go with Purdue? Are you going to have them beat the Terrapins here?
I'm going to say it's Michigan State and Maryland. Okay. And I'm going to say that Michigan State is going to win because as much as, and I've been saying this, and maybe you can answer this question for me better, but I don't think Tom Izzo cares about the Big Ten tournament or winning it.
I don't think you're wrong.
But I think that when he gets there, once the championship game starts, it's going to matter. Like, he's not going to go out and like try to lose it, you know,
Correct.
But he's also not going to be mad if he loses the first game because now there's more rest before the tournament. So I could be totally off on that, but I like Michigan State and Maryland to be in the final. I like Michigan State to win it. I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland won it, but I'll pick Michigan State. And that's the final that I'm hoping for. Like, because I think that those are the 2 best teams in the conference right now. And I would like to see the 2 best teams play each other in the championship, but it doesn't always happen like that. Like, Wisconsin made the championship last year, so we'll see. Expect the unexpected, but I'm expecting Michigan State and Maryland.
That's what we've been parading the entire week here is either lose immediately. Just get out of this. Don't waste our time here. We've already reached the mountaintop of the bigger banner, which is the regular season. I know that there's some debate about that, but that's for a different episode. Izzo was asked about this though on Part of My Take 2 over the weekend. He kind of just point blank asked do you care about this Big Ten tournament? Is it a thing where it's no big deal if you lose? And his answer, he started with, well, I'd get in a lot of trouble if I just said that straight up. And then, he said kind of what you just repeated, of course they're going to try to win these games. But I think if they do bow out on a Friday or a Saturday, I don't think he's going to be throwing the folding chairs all over the locker room and, ripping down every single piece of wallpaper. That's around Indianapolis. I think things will be okay.
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing of sure, if you do make it to Sunday, while I'm here, I might as well just win this whole damn thing. Okay.
Yeah.
But if they do drop a game, I'm speaking from a fan perspective and also maybe just a little bit from an Izzo perspective, it is not the end of the world should they lose, especially since they just wrapped up the banner. Now, if they came in 2nd place, 3rd place, they lost in the last week to get a hold of that banner. Maybe there's some extra juju with this. I don't think there is, though. And I think that his answer on Part of My Take over the weekend kind of, reflects all that too. So
it's going to be interesting, especially because I'm still very obviously with the 8-9 game right before it. You don't know exactly who's going to win that. But I think if I was a Michigan State fan, I would want Indiana because of the reasons I said earlier. I think Oregon's a better team, first of all, and they're playing better right now. But also, you want that revenge game, right? So like
a little bit, kind of, but
definitely want
like
that. Plus, it's in Indiana. You know, the crowd is going to be like 70% Hoosiers fans. It's going to be insane in there. And you don't think Tom Izzo is going to walk in there and like everyone's going nuts for Indiana and he's not going to want to kick their behinds or whatever you're allowed to say on the show. So yeah, I'm very excited for either way, because I think that, like I said, I think Oregon's a better team and I'd like to see that matchup. But if I'm you, I want revenge against Indiana and I want to beat them in Indiana too. Like that would be really fun if I was a Michigan State fan.
That would, just like one for the road. Like, yes, we've played in some hostile atmospheres here. You know, we did play in Maryland, you know, a massive game for the Terrapins, of course. Illinois wanted our head on a spike. You obviously played in Ann Arbor, but like, you know what, just one for the road, just one more game to sharpen us a little bit. Let's play a de facto home game against Indiana for a little bit of revenge. Here I am saying, you know, like, I don't care about Friday. Izzo doesn't care about Friday. No, if that is the circumstance, there's probably going to be a little fire under his belly for that game.
For sure. It's easy to say like you don't care about it until it starts, right? And then like once you're in there, it's like we have to win this game.
I know, and I've said that too. Like I've called myself out for it just throughout the week too. Like I know damn well when this game tips off Friday at noon, like I don't want to see Michigan State win this game, but like I'm telling myself right now, like hey, if they lose, who cares? Come on, it turns out I will.
Exactly.
Ken, I'm sorry. I said that we were going to get to mailbag questions here, but we've just talked up and down about this tournament. I'll give you one. This is from Greek Omelet. Writes in, if you could scrap the Big Ten tournament and instead just add 2 regular season Big Ten games onto everybody's schedule, would you do it? How much? Yeah, that was a quick shake of the head. Yeah.
Definitely not. I just like, this is my favorite event of the year, partially because I have a
wrong person to ask.
Yeah, I have an agreement with my wife that this is like a non-negotiable event for me every year. So like, it's the only time I get away from my family and just focus in on like watching basketball. And there's so many games. It's so condensed into such a small period of time. The atmosphere is crazy. Like I'm just so excited about it. I would never get rid of it. Like if the Big Ten tournament went away, I would lose some purpose in life.
Wow. So, I'm sorry, Greek Omelet. I use this question on the worst possible person here. If you wanted any like debate back and forth, that seems pretty set in stone from our guy Ken over there.
Sure.
I get it, and it is such a cool event. I haven't been in, oh my God, 11 years now that I'm doing the math in my head. Holy smokes, time goes too fast. But it is an outstanding event if anyone has the means to ever go to this event. I would also not get rid of it. And I know I said, like, I don't care about the Big Ten tournament, whatever. A 20-game Big Ten regular season is enough of a gauntlet. Like, 2 more games would be a lot. And also, I do like the prep that this Big Ten tournament does give you for the bigger tournament, right? Like, just in case you have younger players that aren't used to, like, quick turnarounds like this, okay, maybe you have new guys on the staff that have to get used to the way that you go back-to-back with preparing for games. I think it's just a nice little whistle wetter before you get into March Madness. And obviously, you know, you do it in Maui, 3 games in 3 days, but God, how long ago was that? 5-6 months ago? It's a good way to, you know, get your feet wet before you get to the big dance. So no, keep the Big Ten tournament.
I think the only benefit would be that if the committee's not like considering the Big Ten tournament games as what they're going to use for getting into the tournament, because they've said that before, like they're not really using that, or they've alluded to it or whatever. So if they're not doing that, then yeah, like that's the only benefit is actual regular season games. They would have to consider those when like someone's on the bubble. But other than that, like, no, man, definitely not. I love this thing.
No, I agree. Like, not as much as you do, obviously, but like, I do enjoy it. It is an enjoyable event. So, all right, guys, we will be back. And guess what? We're going to talk more about this Big Ten tournament, Michigan State's lead up until their game. Whoever on earth it's against, whether it's Oregon or Indiana, we're going to be here because we do this 5 days a week here on Locked On Spartans. Your team in green and white. Kent, thanks a lot, man. Anything you want to plug here before we let you go, and enjoy the rest of your week and your Indianapolis Bonanza. Let's go, man.
It's at Casual Big Ten on Twitter. That's it. I'll be sending out some photos, maybe some videos of the event this week. Come follow along with the fun.
When you see Trey Holloman in the streets of Indianapolis, tell him that I love him like a family member. Thanks in advance for that, Ken. I know you're good for it. All right, guys, we will be back. Love you all. Go Green.